Okay, so I woke up with a bit of dysregulation due to my BPD, and I want to do a reading to just assess where I'm at, and maybe help me get out of the dysregulation a bit. So this would be like my pausing activity would be to read this spread, and then
What's the feeling?
The feeling is kind of like a futility and a nihilism, sort of like no matter what I do, I'm screwed. So so this will go with we'll go with feeling, thought, and then action.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ace of Pentacles.
Oh, that's a crazy card.
New beginnings.
That certainly makes sense in terms of feeling.
Yeah, it does, because again, I mean, so much Pentacles has come out for both of us in readings lately, because it's like what we've been working on is really establishing solidity in the real world, right? Instead of being separated from the world, Pentacles brings you into the world. And this is like the new beginning of that. So there's a lot of potential here, but nothing has like concretely, it's Ace is number one. It's the beginning stage. Hasn't fully, the choices haven't fully been made yet. It's the potential and the beginning and the blossoming of that new space. Of course. Page of Swords. Okay, so it's really interesting because so here's the feeling. Oh wait, did we go thought? We went feeling, thought. Yeah. So feeling, it is true. This is like where I'm at right now is kind of this open space of potential stuff, and that feeling I have of, no matter what I do, there's an issue. But within that, there's this sense of like there are choices that have to be made, and I don't mind, like where I'm getting caught is that I don't, in that sense of no matter what I do, I'm screwed. What I'm really saying is like I'm looking at my choices and trying to decide a new path, and based on my past experiences, I'm afraid that I'm creating more of the same, essentially. So this is more like there's open space and there is the potential to choose things that lead to growth. And then Page of Swords, it's just interesting that comes out in the thoughts position, because swords is thoughts, it's the mind. And the page is someone that's, I mean, nothing would describe me better right now. I would love to be a Queen of Swords. But the reality is where I'm at right now is totally a page, which is the first in the royal court. It's the child.
The entry?
Yeah, it's entry level. It's entry level mentality. It's like you're learning. You're learning how to direct your thoughts correctly. You're learning how to harness the power of your mind. So there's a lot of amazingness in that, but like you're by no means like a master of it.
And it also relates to this being at the beginning, this Ace of Pentacles. Right, like nothing has actually happened yet, but there's just new beginning.
Well, in the fair way, you could take it too, is not that I don't know anything per se, being a page. It's that all the things I learned before are leading up to a new series of cycles, with me starting as a page in a new area. Because it's like there are things I did master in the past, but that doesn't mean that as you move forward, you master everything. Like you still start a new cycle of learning again for something new. Like when you're in a new shift, you're learning new things. So it is indicative on the whole of setting my mind towards something new. But also this could be the BPD, because it's like in some ways, the struggles of BPD, even though I've intellectualized a lot of it, like it does keep you in this place. Like that's where you have to start when you're healing BPD. You almost have to go through that process of going through the page and starting, because like I'm learning things about the disorder that I had no idea had anything to do with me. Like I didn't know that my life was so constructed by this maladaptive, way of approaching life. So it really could be a BPD thing too, that, like, it's like this, like the light's coming out too. It's like, oh, I'm really actually seeing the reality of everything. And then action. Okay, so remember when I told you like the major arcanas are life events, right? So the Tower is a falling down of things that is uncontrollable. It could be something as small as just letting go, but it could be something as huge as like catastrophes. So it's, you have to interpret that carefully, but it's a hugely powerful card. It also means that like everything is shifting and you're going to see things from a different way, because what needed to be dismantled, basically the universe is going to dismantle it for you if you don't do it. There's a warning.
Is that like
in the Tower.
Is that like the house that you've built up to this point?
Like House of Cards. It could be. It could be the House of Cards that I've built, and like it needs to come down, which does make sense dismantle. For BPD. It's like it is a dismantling process. Yeah. And actually, I didn't look at the bottom of the deck yet. Okay, the Empress, beautiful. She's like the goddess, fertile creation. Always pregnant. The Empress is always shown pregnant.
Which is like, yeah, birth, new beginnings.
Birth, new beginnings. And again, like that's actually what you see through it, which really is the truth. It's like I have this space to make choices. If I didn't, I wouldn't be struggling with that right now. Like struggling with the choices is the reality of that I have them to make, because I have some sort of clearing out. I was doing one thing in life and being one way, and now I'm being presented with open potential. So I'm struggling with the freedom of that open potential and what to do with it. And I'm trying to use my mind to make it make sense. And then there is something here in like, in a way, this is what's happening right now. I would say it's just relevant to how I feel. Like this is what I feel. That.
And these are actions, or this is
the action. It's almost
this is what's
like,
actually happening.
Yeah, I guess you could. Yeah, you could even you could say it like that. Yeah. The action of what is happening in my life right now is that it's inevitable. It's actually inevitable, because there is no way to have this in this without something having to shift. Like you would have to have a change, because if the old way isn't working, you wouldn't need the new opening. You wouldn't need to learn how to think about it and where to be on it.
Yeah, you wouldn't need to be a page.
Right. It's kind of inevitable, essentially, that
and all
that
of
I'm
this,
in that tower mode where everything's falling and shifting. And it's not bad. It's a rearranging.
And all of this is somehow supported or put in the context of the Empress, which is
creation, growth, abundance,
fertility.
Yeah. All of those, which is really what I want. It actually is why, in terms of BPD, it's why I suffer. It's because I don't feel that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm worried more about being stuck in that constantly.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah. And that is good if it leads to something new. But if it just keeps you in a cycle, you just keep staying in towers. And I think like if you look at BPD, that makes so much sense.
How does all this relate to the feeling of no matter what I do, I'm screwed?
Mm.
Does this shed any light on that?
Maybe, because if I really want to be honest about it, probably always there's this, but I'm not able to do anything with it because I get stuck in thoughts that lead. That
you don't want to be a page,
Yeah, that's true too. I don't even like that. Yeah, it's like, no, I want to be the Queen of Swords,
And
but there's something in these things, like the way maybe it's how I'm dealing with. It's like how I'm dealing with my Ace of Pentacles. If I never get beyond page, Yeah, there's actually a few ways you could kind of look at that, of course, but but I can see the loop, essentially. And that is what I'm talking about with BPD today, of like getting stuck in a dysregulation mode.
And it could be...
I'm using the wrong thoughts, maybe, to... Sorry.
Yeah, and it could be that the tower represents that, like, that loop is just a constant shift. Like, your house keeps getting destroyed.
Yeah.
You know? And you're not really being the Empress.
Right, that's the point,
like
too.
That thought that no matter what I do, I'm screwed.
Yeah. Which is, in these thoughts, I can't, there's, like, that's a hard thing. Actually, and I just want to show how beautiful it is that right under that is the Two of Cups. Which just makes me think of us. Which it does, it is behind it. It is like a support of that. You know, that allows me also to feel that, which being with you, I do feel that way more often because of love, you know, because of support, because of like connection. But regardless, like I know that is a potential either way, you know, it's like the love does really help. But it also can be self, you know, like I can also say that I can do for myself too, this thing, the communion inside myself to get to that. Yeah, so I think that's good. I'm gonna be like ruminating about that today, I think. Yeah. And then there's a floof.